So, what's the one thing that separates companies that thrive through change from the ones that just stumble? Well, a lot of the time, the secret sauce isn't just their product or their strategy. It's their people. Or more specifically, it's their pipeline of future leaders. So let's dive right into this. We're going to talk about building a leadership pipeline to really shore up your organization's health and success for years to come. Here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the high cost of not having a plan, what I call the empty chair problem. Then we'll lay out the blueprint for a real solution, get into the weeds of how to define and develop your future leaders, and finally, we'll talk about how you actually measure your progress.
So let's kick things off with a scenario that is way too common, one that definitely keeps executives up at night, the dreaded leadership vacuum.
Okay, let's make this real. Imagine your star vice president. You know, the one who's basically the glue holding 3 different departments together, walks into your office on a Monday and resigns. 2 weeks notice. What happens next? I mean, besides the panic, right?
Well, it is never, ever just about filling one empty seat. That one departure creates this massive, chaotic ripple effect. Suddenly, projects grind to a halt, the team is completely rudderless and confused. All that amazing momentum you've built up, it just vanishes. Morale takes a nosedive, and you're stuck in this frantic, expensive scramble to recruit someone new. It's absolute chaos. But what if you could avoid all that chaos? Well, you can. And that's where we get to the strategic solution, building your leadership pipeline blueprint. Think of it like a Major League Baseball team's farm system. You're not just crossing your fingers hoping for star players to show up, you are actively, deliberately cultivating them.
And here's what we're really talking about. The key word here is systematic. This is not about having a few favorite employees in mind for a promotion someday. No, it's a deliberate, proactive process for finding and nurturing talent at every single level of the organization, so you're always ready for what's next. So how do you actually build this thing? Well, we can break it down into 3 really simple but powerful pillars. First, you have to precisely define the roles you need. Second, you develop your people so they're ready for those roles. And third, you constantly measure their readiness. Define, develop, measure. It sounds simple, and honestly, these 3 pillars are the foundation for everything. All right, let's dig into that first pillar, defining future leaders. This is ground zero. You absolutely cannot develop people for a role if you don't have a crystal clear picture of what success in that role even looks like.
And this right here highlights such a critical distinction. Leadership is not a monolith. The skills that make someone a phenomenal team lead, like being amazing at managing daily tasks, are fundamentally different from what a middle manager needs, where it's all about bigger picture strategy and working across different teams. Your pipeline has to account for these different stages. And this is how you make it objective. You stop relying on gut feelings and you build a competency framework. You define the concrete skills needed, things like strategic thinking or financial acumen. This gives you a consistent, fair yardstick to identify and assess potential across the entire company. Okay, so you've identified all this potential using your framework. What now? Well, now you have to actually build the path that takes them from potential to real-world performance. This is our second pillar, develop the people. Now, the crucial point here is that development is absolutely not one-size-fits-all. I mean, look at this. An emerging leader, they might need mentorship focused on communication. But a mid-level leader needs to learn strategic execution, maybe through a rotational assignment in a totally different department. And your senior leaders? They're focused on big-picture innovation, which might mean formal executive education. You have to match the method to the need. And that's really the big idea. Effective development isn't just a one-off training course you send people to. It's a continuous journey. A strong leadership pipeline provides the map for that journey, showing people exactly where they are, where they're headed, and what skills they need to master to get to that next level. All right, let's move on to our third and final pillar, measuring your bench strength. Because let's be honest, a strategy without measurement is really just a hope. You have to have data to know if your pipeline is actually working. Think of this as a high-level health check for your pipeline. In this example, 65% of critical roles have a successor ready to go. But what about that other 35%? Now ask yourself, what would that chart look like for your company? That 35% gap isn't just a number on a chart. It's a huge business risk just waiting to happen.
Here's another really powerful metric. Are you growing your own leaders from within, or are you constantly having to go out and buy them from the competition?
A high internal promotion rate, like the 70% we see here, is a fantastic sign that your pipeline is doing its job. It saves money, it boosts morale, and it keeps valuable institutional knowledge inside the company.
And finally, the best organizations don't just track data. They set ambitious goals. They might set a target just like this one. 85% of our critical roles must have a successor who is ready to step in right now. Why? Because a single number like this creates accountability. It drives the entire development process forward and turns a nice idea into a core business function.
So, let's bring it all together. What are the key things to walk away with? First, being unprepared for a leader's departure is a massive, costly risk. Second, the solution is a leadership pipeline, a strategic system, not a hopeful guess. And third, the whole thing is built on those three powerful pillars: define the roles, develop your people, and measure your progress.
I want to leave you with this single, powerful question. It's really the ultimate test of your organization's readiness for the future. I want you to take this question back to your team, discuss it, debate it, and most importantly, start building the system that allows you to answer it with a confident, resounding yes.